I think it's great, not just for her. I think it's great for the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody talked about the recognition that she brought to the W this season. So for her to be Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, I think it's really great for the league.
And what about Angel herself? So far, she's kept quiet, uncharacteristically quiet. You have to wonder if she's drafting a response, crafting just the right words to diminish Caitlin's win without sounding too bitter. Let's be honest, subtlety has never been Angel's strong suit, but maybe this time she realizes there's not much she can say. This isn't just another social media spat. This is Caitlin Clark being recognized as the best in the game. Here's a clip from the Matrix Studios CoroNet session. Some of Angel's fans are predictably crying foul, accusing the system of bias, bringing up old debates about double standards and race. But let's call it what it is. Caitlin Clark earned this award. It's not about favoritism or politics. It's about performance. And let's not forget the narrative Angel tried to push after the NCAA championship. She played the "it's a team game" card, reminding everyone that LSU had won the title. But here's the thing. Individual brilliance still matters. Caitlin Clark's contributions were undeniable, championship or not. This award doesn't diminish LSU's victory. It simply recognizes that Caitlin was the standout star of the season.
I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
What makes this whole situation even more satisfying is Caitlin's reaction, or lack thereof. She hasn't gloated, she hasn't taunted, and she hasn't even acknowledged Angel Reese's antics from months ago. She stayed humble, letting her game do the talking. That kind of grace only makes her win more deserving. While Angel was busy playing to the cameras, Caitlin stayed focused on what truly matters: basketball. This isn't to say Angel Reese isn't talented. She is. But there's a difference between being a good player and being a generational talent. Caitlin Clark is the kind of player people will talk about for years. Her style, her precision, her ability to dominate under pressure, all of it sets her apart. Angel may have had her viral moment, but Caitlin has a legacy.
She got the cookout, but when you hear that, thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league.
The question now is, how will Angel respond? Will she let this go, or will she turn it into yet another drama-filled spectacle? If history is any indication, she'll probably lean into the drama. After all, controversy keeps her in the spotlight. But here's the thing. This isn't just another Twitter debate. This is Caitlin Clark being immortalized as the best of the best. No amount of finger wagging or ring pointing can change that.
Who has a new weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable. It's egregious. It's disgusting. It's wrong.
Karma now faces Angel Reese, the self-appointed queen of college basketball's drama department, following Caitlin Clark's win of the Athlete of the Year award. Yes, this is the same Caitlin Clark whom Angel Reese famously taunted during the NCAA championship game. In an article published by Amber Rakin, Caitlin Clark opens up about addressing her rivalry with Angel Reese after being named Time's Athlete of the Year.
When I started my last college season and not knowing if that would actually be my last season, whether I was deciding to come back to college or turn pro, and now sitting here like I'm done with my first professional season and so much has happened, and whether it was, making the national championship game or getting the Fever back to the playoffs since 2016.
It all started at the NCAA championship when Angel Reese made sure all eyes were on her by taunting Caitlin Clark in a way that could only be described as over the top. The finger waving, the ring pointing, Reese turned what should have been a celebration of her team's victory into her personal viral moment. Then, when Claire is pushing back on her, Glory Steinem reached out to Reese
But the fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special.
But here we are, months later, and Caitlin Clark is walking away with the kind of recognition that truly matters. Athlete of the Year isn't just some participation trophy, it's a statement. It says you were the best, period. And while Angel Reese may have her championship ring, Caitlin has something that seems to sting even more: universal respect. And while Insulmania remains around to this day, it's doubly the most consistent winner in broadcasting and bodybuilding history.
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
Angel Reese had an impressive season. Her stats were remarkable, and her impact undeniable. But when it comes to transcendent talent, Caitlin Clark is on another level. She doesn't just score points, she controls games. Her ability to read the court, deliver pinpoint assists, and drain three-pointers from absurd distances makes her a player you can't take your eyes off. Caitlin's dominance wasn't about flashy gestures, it was about skill, consistency, and poise. Let's not pretend this is a surprise. Caitlin's performance all season long made her the clear frontrunner for the award. She averaged over 27 points per game and practically carried her team on her back. Even in games where Iowa fell short, Caitlin shone like a star. Meanwhile, Angel's name is often brought up not for her stellar performance on the court, but for her theatrics. When people think of Angel Reese, their minds don't go straight to her rebounds or defense. They think of that now infamous taunt. And therein lies the difference. Caitlin Clark didn't need theatrics to stay relevant. Her game spoke for itself. Angel, on the other hand, seemed to rely on controversy as much as her talent. And while that approach might get you trending on Twitter, it doesn't earn you the respect of the broader sports world. The internet, of course, wasted no time weighing in on this development, and the comments were predictably brutal. One tweet read, "Angel Reese did all that finger pointing just to watch Caitlin Clark take the crown." Another chimed in, "Guess Caitlin didn't need a ring taunt to prove she's the best." The memes? Oh, they're merciless. Angels fans may try to defend her, but the narrative has already been written.
Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark has been named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. So the award, which has been distributed since 2019, Clark becomes the first WNBA player to ever win this award.
Caitlin Clark snags another honor. She's made the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Clark, who is just 22 years old, is the only professional women's basketball player on this list.
Now, the other recognizable name on the roster, Angel Reese, who has got to be absolutely terrified. It is not going to be a good Christmas for the villainous Angel.
Instant panic hits Angel Reese when, at just 22 years old, Caitlin Clark made Forbes 30 under 30. It's because Caitlin has achieved what no other player in her category has ever done. While fans across the nation are celebrating her skills, not everyone is clapping, especially Angel Reese. She's been side-eyeing Caitlin since day one.
Angel Reese spoke to the media. She didn't speak to the media after the game against Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Even NASCAR legend Danica Patrick weighed in, suggesting that Angel's grudge against Caitlin is as public as it is perplexing. Sure, Reese has game, but Caitlin has captivated hearts not because of her color, but because of her killer skills. She's a court magician, pulling off jaw-dropping plays that make even her critics pause. Meanwhile, Angel has been working overtime both on and off the court trying to outshine Caitlin, but it hasn't worked. Cooper Worth has published an article claiming that Caitlin Clark joins Jason Tatum and the Cavender twins on Forbes 30 under 30 list. Caitlin Clark is a phenom. She led the NCAA in scoring, set multiple records for three-pointers, and single-handedly carried Iowa to the finals. The fans love her, the media loves her, heck, even her rivals secretly respect her. And now, with her name cemented on Forbes' iconic list, it's clear Caitlin isn't just dominating basketball, she's dominating life. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom is one of those stories that seem almost too good to be true. At just 22 years old, she's become the face of women's basketball, a record-breaking athlete, and now a Forbes 30 under 30 honoree. But this isn't just about talent, it's about grit, determination, and an almost otherworldly ability to shine when it matters most. Caitlin didn't just play basketball, she transformed the way the game is seen. And yet, amidst all her success, one person has been quietly or not so quietly fuming: Angel Reese.
She wins the national title. First thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that. Even Caitlin Clark getting knocked down in that game on Saturday, who's standing up applauding but Angel Reese. So she's sort of embraced a Draymond Green role here.
From the moment they first met on the court, the tension between Caitlin and Angel was undeniable. It wasn't just competition, it was personal. Caitlin, with her sharp shooting skills and uncanny ability to read the game, made every play look effortless. Fans adored her, not because of her background, but because of her brilliance. On the other hand, Angel was always the loud one, the defiant one, the player who brought drama both on and off the court. While Caitlin's game did the talking, Angel often resorted to theatrics. Let's be real, Caitlin's stats alone are enough to silence any critic. She led the NCAA in scoring, averaging an insane 27.8 points per game. That's not just good, it's historic. She became a three-point shooting machine, hitting shots from distances that made defenders look helpless. It wasn't uncommon to see her drain a shot from nearly half court, turn to the crowd, and flash that signature smirk. Fans loved it, opponents, not so much.
Started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like.
And then there were her assists, --100.6 per game. That's right, she wasn't just scoring, she was making everyone around her better. Meanwhile, Angel Reese watched from the sidelines as Caitlin's star continued to rise. Reese is talented, no question her defensive skills are solid, and she's had her moments of brilliance, but it's clear that Caitlin's success eats at her. Every time Caitlin received another accolade or broke another record, Angel seemed to find a way to make it about herself. From passive-aggressive tweets to thinly veiled comments in interviews, she's made no secret of her feelings.
I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that.
Take the Forbes announcement, for example. Caitlin's inclusion in the prestigious 30 under 30 list should have been a moment of celebration for women's basketball as a whole. Instead, it turned into another chapter in the Caitlin Angel saga. While Caitlin humbly thanked her supporters and acknowledged the impact of her coaches and teammates, Angel's reaction was different. She didn't directly address Caitlin's achievement, but her social media told the story. Cryptic posts about being underrated and overlooked sent fans into a frenzy. Was she taking a shot at Caitlin? Most people thought so.
Caitlin Clark's last WNBA playoff game had over 2.6 million viewers, and now we are seeing the ratings dip under 1 million viewers.
A lot to be proud of, and it all happened so fast, like it's hard to appreciate in the moment.
That is Iowa native and Indiana Fever star, and now Time's 2024 Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark, looking back at a whirlwind year.
The WNBA expansion draft was one of the most exciting moments for basketball fans this year, especially with the Golden State Valkyries entering the league.
So, Caitlin Clark and Christy Sides. Christy Sides, the first WNBA coach that Caitlin Clark played for, and surprisingly, even though in her recent Time article she was very positive around WNBA coaches in general. She was very positive around how good the quality of coaching was in the WNBA, but she took a not so subtle jab at Caitlin Clark, at Christy Sides today.
Time magazine recognizes the monster impact Clark had on basketball, saying good luck naming another athlete who altered the trajectory of their entire team sport within 5 months on the job.
She's also a leader on and off the court, often taking over games in crucial moments. Any team would be lucky to have her, so it seems. But building a new franchise isn't just about talent, it's about fit, chemistry, and long-term planning. The Valkyries entered the expansion draft with a clear vision to build a team that could compete not just for attention but for championships. This meant focusing on players who could bring versatility and balance to their roster. Drafting a superstar like Caitlin Clark might have seemed like an easy way to grab headlines, but it could have disrupted the delicate process of creating a cohesive unit, one of the Valkyries' key selections. Tammy Bentley highlights the Valkyrie strategic approach. As a veteran center, Bentley brings defensive prowess and leadership qualities that are essential for any team trying to establish its identity. Her selection, however, raised eyebrows because it meant leaving behind Caitlin Clark, who remains with the Indiana Fever. Fans speculated that Bentley's departure from the Fever was directly tied to Clark's growing influence on the team. Now, here's where things get interesting. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player, she's a brand. Her presence on the court draws media attention, boosts merchandise sales, and energizes fan bases. For the Indiana Fever, she's a cornerstone of their rebuild, but for the Valkyries, drafting someone of her stature might have posed challenges. Managing a star player requires resources, not just financially, but in terms of team dynamics. Clark's style of play demands that the team's offense revolve around her. She's a high-usage player who thrives on having the ball in her hands. While this approach works for established teams with defined systems, it can be risky for a new franchise trying to find its footing. The Valkyries may have wanted to avoid building their entire identity around one player, no matter how talented. Instead, they likely focused on creating a more balanced roster that could develop into a cohesive team capable of competing on all fronts without relying too heavily on any single player.
From the Atlanta Dream, the Golden State Valkyries select center Ileana Rupert.
Another layer to this decision is the Valkyries' emphasis on defense and versatility. Players like Bentley, Alana Rurt, and Monique Billings offer flexibility in multiple positions, allowing the team to adapt to different matchups. Drafting Clark, while enticing, might have limited their ability to assemble a well-rounded roster. But let's not overlook the Fever's role in all of this. As part of the expansion draft rules, teams were allowed to protect certain players. Unsurprisingly, the Fever chose to protect Caitlin Clark, effectively taking her off the table for the Valkyries. However, this decision came at a cost, leaving players like Bentley unprotected. For the Fever, this was a calculated risk. They prioritized securing their star player, knowing that losing others could be a necessary sacrifice. While accepting the potential loss of valuable role players, the decision to protect Clark also reflects her importance to the Fever's future. She's not just a player, she's a franchise centerpiece. Losing her would have been catastrophic for their rebuilding efforts. Still, some fans argue that the Fever's decision to leave Bentley unprotected was a mistake. After all, she's a reliable contributor who brings experience and toughness to the court. For the Valkyries, the draft was an opportunity to make a statement not just to the league, but to their future fans. By passing on high-profile players like Caitlin Clark, they signaled their intent to build a team based on depth, teamwork, and strategic planning. This approach may not generate immediate buzz, but it sets the foundation for sustainable success. Of course, not everyone agrees with this strategy. Some critics believe the Valkyries missed an opportunity to draft a generational talent. Caitlin Clark's ability to draw fans and elevate her teammates makes her a rare commodity in the WNBA. Passing on her might be seen as a gamble, especially for a new team looking to establish itself in a competitive league. Still, there's a case to be made for the Valkyries' decision. Building a successful franchise takes time and careful planning. While star players like Caitlin Clark can be game changers, they also come with challenges both on and off the court. For the Valkyries, the expansion draft wasn't just about acquiring talent, it was about laying the groundwork for a team that can compete at the highest level. What's next? As the Valkyries prepare for their inaugural season, all eyes will be on their roster. Will their strategic approach pay off, or will they regret passing on players like Caitlin Clark?
We're just sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that.
As the season progressed, Clark's game evolved. She studied defensive strategies and adjusted her play style, outsmarting even the most experienced defenders. Her teammates and her coach, Christy Sides, also adjusted to the once-in-a-generation play style of Clark. Some would even say Sides just let Clark run the show. Her hard work paid off. Clark was named Rookie of the Year and first-team All-WNBA, breaking 62 records along the way and proving she could excel among the pros. She had faced the fire and emerged stronger, more skilled, and more determined than ever. But while Clark was making waves on the court, her team was facing struggles of its own. The Indiana Fever's journey was about to take an unexpected turn, one that would test Clark's resolve and shape the future of the franchise.
Now, obviously, I don't think Caitlin Clark had anything to do with Christy Sides firing. I think Christy Sides' inability to coach basketball had everything to do with her firing, and I mean that. I think the reason why Christy Sides got fired is because she's not a very good basketball coach. And I think that if you put in any sort of competent basketball mind, you can tell she's not a very...
You don't know how to use Caitlin Clark's strengths. You don't know how to play to her weaknesses. You don't know how to draw up a simple out-of-bounds play. You don't know how to calm down muddy waters. You don't know how to call a timeout and relax everybody's emotions. You don't know how to talk to the referees. All you know how to do is wave your arms and defensive slide on the sidelines. And Christy Sides, I'm tired of seeing it every single...
The answer might not come immediately, but one thing is certain: this decision will be scrutinized.